session 2. If you remember last time, something we worked on was adding this little edit button and having the ability to actually change this text from a to-do item. But we don't actually have the ability to save it. We're still in edit mode, and when we actually click this, it goes back to the saved version of this text. I skipped over this because it took a little while last time, but we ran npx React Native start in the left tab to bundle our code, and npx React Native run iOS in this tab to start the iOS simulator. Since my computer's a little old, I figured it'd save a little time in the video. So, what can we focus on today? Obviously just continuing where we left off to have the ability to actually save this to the task list. So we've got our action input, which is becoming more of like a complicated action container and not really an input. Has the ability to add, toggle completion and toggle editing. And the editing of the action is actually taking place in action item, or as this use date for keeping track of the draft. So we're able to make it a text input conditionally with this draft state, which has a default value of the use state hook of the action's title. What we need to do next is add the ability to save that action to the action's list state in action input. The naming convention is getting a little hairy. I'd like to get this working and then maybe think about some refactoring. So we have this call it actions here. That's even more confusing, like calling it actions as an actions list. It's passed down to actions list and it becomes actions list. Definitely room for improvement there. But we need the ability to basically save an action. It should be largely similar to this body, except we're preserving the entirety of the action object, except for the title, which is the new title. But this isn't about just the title, The to-do list application will have a lot more than just text. So eventually this could have priority, due date, reminders attached to it, comments, attachments, files or images. Could have subtasks. So you could have like tags and labels, some sort of labeling system assigned to it. And that's something that we need to think about for sure. granted, this is still MVP state. We're not jumping into that functionality yet. Ideally we want to get this actually being used by people, myself and, maybe a small group of people included in that, and start to drive the decision making on that. So we're really just trying to get a functioning, passable product that stores to-do list items and goals in the device storage. So we're not using a database, make it a little easier to develop at first. So important to think about, but for right now, we can call it editing, say, save new action title. What do we have? We have the action item. We can get rid of this comment. Yeah, so what's it going to do? It's actually going to save. So this edit button, maybe it becomes a save button. It's not a great user experience, but for the time being, maybe we can go ahead and make it a little bit better. Yeah, we're able to determine whether or not it's edit mode. I think we could do like a handle. We're picturing that this button basically is a save or edit button. There's no way to really cancel your changes, but when you think about, let's look at Todoist. You just click on it. Save and cancel button underneath. Okay. Doesn't change. Lost that draft state. So that's something to consider. Definitely just being able to enter this draft state and edit all of these fields at the same time. But for right now, we're going to I think it makes sense to at least make two different buttons instead of making one button serve both purposes. It'll be a little more readable this way. We can say toggle edit and then handle save, which we'll call a new prompt that we pass down, which would be handle save action. Provide action ID and the draft stage, something like that. We can get rid of this lambda since the action ID is specific to this action item component, and that should still work. I think we can change the name of this to be button position. And then from within here, we could say if it's edit mode, so if it is in edit mode, then this button becomes a save button. But if it's not in edit mode, this button initiates the edit. So I'll largely take the same thing. Maybe it's worth making its own button, but I'm of the opinion that for right now, we shouldn't jump ahead. I'd rather be verbose at first, keep the code readable, and start to extract things away into components as it becomes apparent that it's really being used in a lot of places. So we can make a different style here, I guess. I say with a shared button style. The only thing we change is the color. And let's give it a nice blue. I think that was the Frank DeLoop Mac application. This color picker is really handy, but I think it's actually been deprecated as of Catalina, which is really sad for me. It's one of the best, probably the best color picker application I've ever used, because it just like immediately goes into my clipboard. So we just need to change these styles. Instead, we can make it an array. Button, styles, save button. We'll do the same thing here. And this is kind of a React Native concept where we're just basically spreading these mini style sheets into the inline styles. But the advantage of using style sheet over style components is I believe these styles are cached in some way, so they're not. It's much more efficient in that they're not sent over the React Native bridge as frequently. All right, so if we go back here, all right, we've got a little save button. But we need to update what this actually does. I'm going to say give this color too, just for fun. Didn't really work. You know, I think that's one thing is the nuances of React Native styles. There's definitely a lot of differences between native mobile and web. I think the styles actually need to be applied directly on the text component, so it's not really propagating the same way as it would on the web. So we've got this handle save button here. Go to action input. We've got save action title. We're going to receive an ID title. We'll do a similar thing. If there's no ID in actions, return early. Otherwise, we're going to set actions. Take the previous version of the action state and return an object. I'm going to spread the entirety of the existing actions list except for the ID we just received. we're going to spread that. And what we are going to do is we need to toggle edit mode, get it out of edit mode now that we've saved it. But we also need to provide a new title. And I mean, you can see how similar these are. Definitely an opportunity for, and even here too. So there's like 3 different handlers that are doing almost the exact same thing. Yeah. So I think it's becoming apparent that like some sort of recursive state would be useful, but really I want to get this into some sort of context API. I'm not sure if I want to use Redux, but just having the ability to have the entirety of the actions list and have it accessible in any part of the component tree could be very useful. So we'll call this the same thing, save new action title, save new action title. We're going to pass it along once more. Save a new action title. Save new action title. Handle save. All right, so I accidentally stopped my recording, and I have no idea why QuickTime is not working. Ideally, I was going to YouTube live stream today, but apparently you need to be verified in order to do that. So maybe next time. But where I left off was we have the save button. It's got this handle save method. So in theory, this should work. If we click edit, I need to go to the library. Okay, that was from before. That was lost. But let's try something new. I want to go to Taco Bell. And then you save it. And it's a text. So that's working the way that we set out to do this morning. And that's a feature in itself, you know. So there's still a lot of room for improvement. Action input, this whole component needs to be refactored. A lot more thought needs to go into state management. Ideally, I'd like to use TypeScript. I'm not crazy about Flow, but you've got to take this stuff one step at a time. You know, the whole concept of this productivity app is if you're consistently putting effort towards your goal, eventually you will complete it. So, you know, putting effort towards this and just taking each problem as they come. So I'm going to commit these changes, and you know, next time maybe we'll tackle some of that refactoring, or maybe we'll do something else. We'll see. Until then.